What's going on, guys? Bart here with Working the Shoot. I want to thank all of you for stopping by. Hope that today is the day we can earn that subscription. If so, you hit that red subscribe bar down below. Only together can we go straight to the moon, baby. Uh, we're going to get into Summerslam Night 2 results. Now, we covered night one. I gave you predictions that I thought would happen on night one. Now, I didn't do that necessarily for night two, the predictions video, because by the time I put up the results for night one, SummerSlam night two was almost ready to be started. So I just decided to do a predictions video for this particular night. And I will say, night two was a bit better than night one for sure. But let's get into it. We initially get the triple threat women's title match between Naomi versus Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let you know if I thought these people were going to win or not win. I'll be honest, I'm never 100% on my predictions. And I'll tell you a match that I thought was going to go one way but didn't later on in this review. In this particular match, I was hoping that Naomi was going to win because I thought it would be such a waste for her character to have such a fascinating development in her work that this is some of the best character work she's done in nearly 16 years that she's there. Um, Not saying that she's never had fans or people rooting her on. She did, feel the glow, baby. She had her fans for sure. I'm not saying she's my favorite female wrestler, but she's definitely put in that work. I'll tell you that. You know what I mean? She making me wish I was Jimmy Uso, my guy. I tell you that too. But I like her entrance that she had because her father, I guess, I didn't realize this until much like everybody else, unless again you're like a real Naomi fan. Her father, I guess, is a world renowned guitarist. He's worked with many bands. Cool in the Gang, I believe it was one of them. And then has worked with other famous bands and just like if you are a musical savant of guitar players, chances are you've heard this man's name. You know what I mean? So that's where that I guess entertaining side comes from in Naomi. That like uh, that drive to be a performer, if you will. And she, even though she's in professional wrestling, um, this brought her a good, nice father-daughter moment, right? At a pay-per-view where everyone gets to see him shredding on the guitar and his daughter rocking out as champion, right? That had to be a proud moment for him that he's performing for his daughter, the champion of the world, right? To the ring. This triple threat match was very well done. Near falls here and there. Naomi, uh, man, Naomi, I tell you, fantastic. She won this match, and I'm very, very happy she did. Especially with the fact that Jade Cargill lost the night before. This made up for that, in my opinion. Now, as far as what happens for Rhea or Io, well, I think that Rhea should be out of the title picture for the time being she's the one that got pinned. Let her get into something else for a little while. And then who should next face Naomi? Maybe Io can have a claim being she wasn't pinned at SummerSlam and she was the legitimate title holder before Naomi cashing out. So you could possibly have Rhea go, and the next feud is Naomi Io Sky, and then plan for whoever else you want to do for Naomi after that. I think Naomi's title reign should last at least until Survivor Series or Royal Rumble, in my opinion. The TLC match, the 25th anniversary of this match, of course, put on by the legendary teams of Team 3D, uh, Devon, and Bubba Ray, Edge and Christian, and the Hardy Boys. Now, the Hardy Boys and Team 3D were there. Of course, Edge and Christian, Adam Copeland and Christian Cage aren't going to be there. They work for AEW currently at the time of this recording. So they're not even referencing. They didn't even show clips of the original match. They just talked about these two teams being in the match. But Motor City Machine Guns, the Street Profits, DIY, Fraxium, and the Wyatt Six were in this match. Ray Phoenix and Andrade. I knew I was missing a team. Were also in this match. My personal pick was going to be the Street Profits, but they didn't win. But this match was spot fest after spot fest after spot fest in a good way. Mostly it all made sense. And ultimately, I mean, we had Candice LeRae get involved. We had Nikki from the White Six get involved. B-Fab, Uncle Howdy get involved. This probably had at least at one point 20 different participants in some way or another in the ring, in different combinations and stuff. And man, I tell you, this was a car wreck. That fall by Candice LeRae from the ladder to another ladder, she was down for a while, man. You can kind of tell that took a lot out of her. DIY went through like 6 tables that were stacked on top of each other. At one point, Ray Phoenix tried to jump up on Andrade's shoulders to try to get the title. It was a good match. It was really one of the better TLC matches you can watch with that many people in it. Okay. I at some point, yeah, the multi-man match gets a little like who's doing what? Like, oh my god, this is so confusing. We can't even get to see what's in the ring because you're following 5 different people over. This was very well contained for the most part within the vicinity of the ring. Some stuff outside the ring, but man, this was again one of the better TLC matches I've seen, even though it had a lot of people in it. And successfully defending and retaining was the Wyatt Six faction. They were champions before coming in. They remain champions. So that's the results of that. This next match, I'm glad, is the last match between these two, to be honest with you. Becky Lynch versus Lyra for the Intercontinental Championship with the stipulation that if Becky wins, that Lyra cannot challenge for this title again as long as Becky holds on to the title. Now, if some other person like Nia Jax or Alexa Bliss or Jade gets the title, then Lyra can challenge if she decides to. But Becky winds up winning this match, and it's basically through the interference of Bayley. And it's not like Bayley was trying to help Becky, but what she did was accidentally hit Lyra and knocked her out near basically near the end of the match, having Becky pin her. And you can clearly tell that Lyra and Becky. I mean, this story's done, but what I was trying to say is that you can clearly tell that Lyra is going to go after Bayley. You know what I mean? Lyra may turn heel just for the fact of this feud where she's going to turn heel against Bayley. I think that's where Lyra's going to wind up going, and we'll see. Maybe there's still Becky Lynch in here through Bailey, and then Lyra costs Bailey the title. I don't know. There's a few other things, but at the end of the day, Lyra's out of the title picture for that title. And to be honest, I was indifferent to this match. I was figuring Becky Lynch was going to win anyway. Um, okay, next match: Solo Sikoa versus Jacob Fatu for the U.S. title, and it was a cage match. I was leaning towards Jacob Fatu for this, but Solo winds up winning with the help of the My Family Tree faction that he's got going on. And yeah, I mean, I think this should be the end of the feud for the time being. You know, maybe you get one more match out of this, but then if you do it for Fatu wins, then you gotta have another rematch after that because Solo new rematch. I think that's the Sikoa and Fatu feud should hold off for a little bit, bring someone else in for the U.S. title picture, and then maybe have Fatu go after the U.S. title maybe around Survivor Series or something, maybe around Royal Rumble, or even have him win the Royal Rumble and have him go against a champion at WrestleMania. I think Jacob Fatu is popular enough and has been built up enough to maybe by WrestleMania next year you can kind of start putting him in the title hunt, the title picture, so to speak. Matches where you're determining the number one contender and you can kind of throw him in there to see how people gauge that. And just keep having him be a badass, right? A badass person between now and the next title win. But as far as this U.S. title feud, I think that should be cooled off for the time being. The next match is the IC title match, and it's the anniversary of the custody for Dom, right? You know, all these years later, Dominic went against AJ Styles. AJ came out in the lowrider, what Eddie Guerrero was wearing at SummerSlam that year, and basically just as the father of Dominic Mysterio, right? But again, this match was definitely a good match. You can't go wrong with AJ Styles in any match. He's one of my favorites. Dominic has been one of my favorites over the last few years too. To be honest, I would have liked to maybe see AJ win this. However, I'm not mad that Dominic won this match, and he won it through cheating, so to speak. He was able to loosen up his boot, and when AJ was trying to, give him the leg move there, he was able to maneuver out of that, pin AJ, and get out of there. Very much in the essence of Eddie Guerrero. Think of Eddie Guerrero and Kurt Angle, that boot spot. Okay. Now we come to the main events of the main events, and that's Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. Now the SmackDown before this match, John Cena turned from heel to babyface once again. He's a good guy, guys, and he's sticking to that because he came out with the music and the smile, kissing the babies again, all this stuff. And initially, I thought maybe Cody Rhodes was going to turn heel and possibly win. But then when John Cena went face, turned into a good guy on SmackDown, I was like, oh, well, they're going to make him win. So I thought John Cena then was going to win. And stayed with that in my mind that John Cena was going to win. But as fate would have it, I initially was right. Cody Rhodes becomes your new WWE champion. No heel turn, But we get Cody Rhodes leaving. We get John Cena trying to get himself together. And we hear someone's music play. It's the Beast, Brock freaking Lesnar. He is back, baby. And he ripped John Cena a new one even more. He went after John Cena. He's not here for a title. He didn't say a word really. He came and took a piece of John Cena's hide. And I guess that's the next big thing. You got a Clash in Paris coming up. War Games is coming up in a few months. If you notice a little delay there, I'm sorry. I had to go do something real quick. But yeah, Brock freaking Lesnar comes back. Man, to be honest with you, I don't know how to feel about this because I was a Brock fan back in his early days. And as time went on, it kind of became like no one can beat him. Uh, he was always brought back to. I don't know. I just was never big on the part-time guys coming back and being given the world when everyone was there trying to do what they do. And with the recent lawsuit stuff that um, comes with. Can't catch a break near the end of this video. Yeah, with the lawsuit going on and everything. I mean, companies are entitled to hire who they want to hire back, or he was never technically released anyway, so he's still under contract. I don't think there's a need to bring back Brock Lesnar. Supposedly, it's because of John Cena requesting him back. But even then, still, I guess you want to satisfy your big star there on his way out. But I'm on the side of that. Cool, but unnecessary in my opinion. But that's for you to decide on whether you like it or not, right? I'm not here to tell you what to like. I just think it's unnecessary. But that's my reviews on SummerSlam Night 2. Let me know down below what you guys thought of the show on an overall sense. I'll give this night like an A minus for sure. A whole letter grade up from yesterday's the show night before where I kind of gave it a B minus. But don't forget how awesome and amazing you are. And until next time, peace, Snookums.